Hello and welcome to a special edition of the In the Money Players podcast. This is a custom show we're doing for our friends out at Del Mar. We'll be hearing some words from them a little bit later in the show. I'm your host, Peter Thomas Fornatow. I am coming to you not from the Brooklyn bunker, but from my dad's old office in Port Washington, Long Island, where I've been for the holiday, which is why I don't have the TV in the office with me, Billy, that you inquired about to be watching the
You don't have a TV. Oh, no. I'll keep you posted.
It's no, don't. It's okay.
You don't want to know. Okay.
I'll pause it. I'll go back. It'll be fine. I'll catch up when the ball's out of play. But listen, hey, yes, it's a big day for USA Soccer, but it's a big weekend for horse racing, including our friends out at Del Mar. The Turf Festival this year, carrying over to 2 weekends. It kicks off this weekend. I'll actually be out there for next weekend, getting a chance to see these two guests today in person. We'll start with the man whose voice you've already heard. You know him from the work he does with Little Red Feather. You know him from the Owner's Box. Billy Koch. What's going on, Billy?
Not much, PTF. Just nice to be back at Del Mar. I hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving. I saw you did there's some crazy run that looked exhausting. I literally got tired. He did some crazy run. He was all sweaty and posting his results. And
that literally could have just been Pete climbing the stairs. I mean.
Well, come on. Let's be nice, Michelle.
I finished in the top half. I finished in the top half of the field of 2,600 in this 5-miler. I'm happy to tell you.
What about for your age group?
Not great. Middle, little bit back, middle of the pack. But I realized it's like self-selecting, because if you're 50 years old and you're still running, like the other people are like really into it. There's not like a lot of dilettantes like myself. So not embarrassing, like 70.
Yeah, but you worked out. I mean, you worked out, and that's more than a lot of people. I was on a trip and I played pickleball. I went horseback riding. I don't know. It's like mini tennis. It's weird. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just hit the ball back and forth. The good news was I didn't have to run that much, so it was good. Right. And I was very sore from horseback riding. Michelle, I have great. We're going to talk about this when we ultimately do our show. That's the first time I've been on a horse in a really long time, and I could barely get on the horse. The insides of my thighs. What is that? Like not your hamstring, but almost like your inner groin area. Oh, I am still sore. I did it 5 days ago. I am so sore.
You got to get up and do it the next day too, and then you'll feel better.
No, not
as much as I like talking about your groin, Billy.
Oh, sorry.
He's like, I want to talk about our second guest. Whose voice you've heard at this point. You know her for the amazing work she does on the Santa Anita simulcast feed, from the Owner's Box as well, from a host of activities, and really had to move heaven and earth to get here to be with us today. So we appreciate her more than usual. Michelle Yu, what's happening? How was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, I'm good. But hey, I see some to-go containers right there, Pete.
Yeah, what's in there? That's turkey behind you.
Let's see. Oh, those are just extra, rather than, dirty a million plates for Thanksgiving. We did a lot of disposable ones this year. So those are some extras that I should have put away by now, but didn't.
You're like my wife. You said Thanksgiving. You hit the wrong syllable. She said hotel and TV. That's like you. I never knew that about you.
I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Absolutely. That's wild. Okay, good for you. Pete hasn't started yet. They're just doing warm-ups.
That's okay. Don't know. It's
I don't want to get
you haven't had Thanksgiving yet?
No, we did. Those were leftover. Those were ones we didn't get to, so they need to be stored for the next big family cooking project. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
Now that we have that out of the way.
Yeah, let's go.
We do have some racing we need to talk about, team. And we should also point out the contest is this weekend. Billy, are you going to be participating in that?
You know what? I just got back down here. I hadn't even thought about it, but maybe I will, because I went through these. I mean, if I have strong enough opinions, maybe.
We'll talk some of them through, but folks can get involved in that. You can obviously play at Del Mar. You can find the info on dmtc.com. And I think you can also play from both ExpressBet and TVG. So get in touch sooner rather than later and make sure they have a spot for you in this Del Mar contest, because I don't think you can just roll up right before the races and do it. So get involved there. On this show, we're going to talk about the Saturday late pick 5. We start off in race number 5, 5:30 Eastern, the scheduled post time. $25,000 claimers on the turf, going the sharp 5 furlongs. Michelle, what do you like in here?
So I thought this race was interesting, obviously. I like the 3 Hebe Mojo Ryzen for John Sadler. I think he suits the level. I think the cutback and distance going to benefit him, and I know he's going to have speed to run at, which I think will work in his favor. I know he's been facing a lot lesser types when he was been running at Golden Gate with some of his better races. I mean, a lot lesser types, but also I think sometimes that distance is the great equalizer, and I just think that this is probably a good spot for him with a good setup. I can't single in this race. I also like the 5 King of Speed for Craig Delassie. Again, I think a horse that just runs very well going 5. Look at the race that he ran where he got beaten by Maven. He ran good there, and then he ran against in the nighttime in the 1,000-yard race. I still think he ran very well there. And his last race at this level shows that he suits at the level. So all those things kind of going to combine for him. And I wouldn't completely leave off Maven. I would like to see Edwin try to not break the speed barrier. When he won at Del Mar, when he was with Wesley, Mike Smith won a leisurely 22:45. When we ran him in the Green Flash, Maldonado sent, he went 21:44, and he bled that day a little bit. So he wasn't able to hold on. And then he got last time out, it was him and Encroachment duking it out at Santa Anita. They went 21:43, and obviously he got tired because he wasn't. I'm not sure if Edwin knew he wasn't going 5 furlongs. He was actually going 6 furlongs that day. And if anyone can hold on going 21, going 6, I'm like, hey, good job. But our horse definitely not. So the cutback should help him. The scratch of Barris and the Bull should probably help him a little bit. So I wouldn't check him off, but I find it hard to depend on. I'm going to draw Edwin a map, and I wish I could talk in his ear like you're going.
I don't know why we can't talk in Jockey's ear. That's my new idea. Like you talk in the ear, just like they do in NASCAR. And you say hey, you're going too fast, buddy. Slow down, ease up.
He's coming up the rail. He's coming up the rail. It's going to
coming up the rail.
Wait for it.
Yeah.
But
is that going to happen? Is that legal?
That'd be so cool. But then
I don't know why we don't.
The trainer.
Yeah, it would be the trainer.
Pulls out the earpiece and they're like, I'm not going to.
Can't hear you.
They're not going to let Billy. If this ever happens, they're not going to let owners anywhere near it. I can guarantee.
I think it'd be great.
I've never heard if anyone has tried anything like this. It's worthy of asking. I'm glad you mentioned Maven. I was obviously going to ask Michelle. Definitely, I think an interesting contender for Team Hansen in this spot. But Billy, let's bring you in to get your idea of the winner as we kick off this late pick 5 on the Del Mar Saturday card.
Here's the thing. It's hard to just start with a race. And you and I have done the show many times. You have to look at the whole sequence because you have to look at where you're going to single, where you're going to go deep, things like that. And then adjust your ticket accordingly. This is obviously a spread race. You can't have too strong of an opinion in here. I hate, really using the favorite in a spread, but I think real money. Michelle didn't mention this horse for Gary Barber coming in, to Pete Miller, shortening back up, gets Pratt. Okay, must use on your ticket. I like in these 5 furlong races. This is interesting. I usually like inside because it's a quick turn, and if you get hung wide, doesn't often work. But I'm actually all outside, and I'm using 6, 7, 8, 9. Those 4 horses. Use Michelle's horse on the cutback to 5/8. Has run well at Del Mar. Maybe, like Michelle said, doesn't have to go that fast in this particular spot. And then I'm using the 2 Mike Pipey horses. Chaos Theory, who he claimed, and then Fully Loaded, who's an interesting import from Gulfstream. And if you look this weekend and next, I'm going to throw Kent DeSormo into the mix on a lot of horses because he has a chance, and he's been given a second chance, third chance, fourth chance, whatever this chance is for Kent. I think he's going to ride hard. There's no questioning Kent DeSormo's talent. None. He's uber talented rider. His off the field problems are what's gotten him into trouble. So I'm going to use a couple of his horses, especially. I think this is a live one for Pipey in a wide open race.
All right. I mean, I'm hearing where you guys are going with that, and I think you're making a great point about looking at things holistically when it comes to the entire sequence. Certainly. Let's move on to the next race in this sequence. It is race number 6. 2-year-old maiden colts going 6.5 on the dirt. Very, very interesting division to follow this time of year. We've got 3 from the Bob Baffert barn, including number 9, Harlow Cap, with a real Baffert pedigree by Justify out of a Bodemeister dam. Let's start with the general question to you, Billy. Are you with the Bafferts or looking in another direction?
Well, as we talked about the sequence, I have a single coming up later. So in a race like this that you just don't know with 2-year-olds how they're going to respond. The first thing you look for is experience, and the second thing you look for is Baffert. So Spun Intended has to be on the ticket. This horse ran a huge race to another Baffert named Fort Warren last time. He's had plenty of time to recover from that effort from Mark Glatt. He's the likely favorite in here unless the works come out on Harlow Cap and they're just unbelievable. You have to use Harlow Cap. He's on the outside. Baffert, Johnny V, $400,000 purchase. And then I think you also have to use Brainstorming because JJ Hernandez winds up there. Oh, Barnstorming. Sorry. Barnstorming. A Son of Quality Road out of a Smart Strike mare probably wants to go further, but this is 6.5. And how many times have you seen where Baffert gets bad and the other Baffert wins? It's like it's ad nauseum. So I would go 249 here, get it covered, and if someone beats me, I'd be surprised.
Michelle, is that enough coverage?
I loved Spun Intended on debut, and he didn't break great, and I still thought he made a nice run late. I really like him in here. I think Billy's on absolutely not only the right track, but we are thinking similarly. If I was just going to throw you one horse from a pedigree standpoint, it'd be the one Calm Sea. He's out of a mare named Surrender. His siblings include Surrender Now and Red Flag, both of whom ran very well, specifically at Del Mar. So I just think if you're looking for like an extra horse from a pedigree standpoint, that'd be the one. But for me, I would even just go Spun Intended and Barnstorming.
Okay. So really looking 4-9 with a little bit the 1. Do I have those numbers right, Michelle?
The 2.
The 1 was just kind of chuck people out. Like if you want a pedigree play, I would put him on my ticket. I'm going to play the 2 and the 4.
Okay, the two, and the 4 for Michelle in that one. Let's move on to the hinge of this pick 5. It is the Grade 2 Seabiscuit going 1 1/16 on the turf field of 9. Michelle, we'll keep it with you.
All right. So I think if you want to single, you can single Hong Kong Harry. I love Hong Kong Harry. I'm a huge fan of his. I think the distance should suit him very well, even though he's never run at the 1 1/16. I really like him in here. So if I'm only going to use one horse, it's going to be Hong Kong Harry. If I go a little bit deeper, I would certainly include Beyond Brilliant in this spot. I actually loved him going into the Breeders' Cup. He didn't run great that day, but he's back at Del Mar. He loves Del Mar. He's running out of his stall. I know he likes that. So if I'm going to add a second horse, it would be him. And you're thinking, why not Smooth Like Straight? I just feel like Smooth Like Straight.
No one was thinking that.
No one was thinking that?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was going to ask about him if neither of you brought him up. I'd say that.
Well, I just think that horse runs bang up at a mile, and I just think like a step over and he sits your exacta. Like you could back wheel him in your exacta, right? Like, I mean, I think that he certainly picks up a check here, hits the board, but I can't depend on him to win anything beyond a mile.
Billy, you seemed to have an interesting reaction.
I'm very aligned with Michelle here. I think Hong Kong Harry, the fact that Phil D'Amato skipped the Breeders' Cup, they did not supplement. He's got great rest. He has really good pattern going into this race. He just dominated in the Del Mar Mile. I don't think the extra 16th of a mile is going to hurt him. Keeps Pratt. And I think the pace in here is going to be really solid. I think Master of Foxhounds is fast. I think Santin is going to be up there. I think Smooth Like Straight's going to be up there. Obviously, Beyond Brilliant has run his best races when he's on the lead. So you're looking at 4 horses. They're going to cut out some serious fractions in here. And that's why I lean to Hong Kong Harry. I'm also going to take a shot with Set Piece. Coming from back east. This horse ran really good in the Grade 1 at Keeneland. Only got beat a length and 3/4 that day for Brad Cox. Fast enough to stay to run these down late if it gets hot. And I would key Hong Kong Harry because he has that style that's going to fit this race. I think Set Piece is going to be flying late. If you look, he did lose to Santin and Smooth Like Straight as the favorite, and he was rolling that day. The 1 1/16 should fit him nicely. He's going to take back to last. You're not going to have to worry about it, and he's going to come flying late. So I would go 3-8 here with an emphasis on a Hong Kong Harry just because there's so much speed.
It makes perfect sense.
And my concern with Santin was the shorter stretch here, because I think that his better races have been at some of these tracks, Fairgrounds, Churchill, that have had longer stretches, and he did get necked out in the Hollywood Derby last time he ran at Del Mar. So
yeah, he's a nice horse, Santin. I from a price standpoint, I used kind of chalky the last race, and if I was going to throw out one horse, I was going to try to beat him at 3-1, even though he should get a good trip from the rail.
It might be a tough situation, though, with so much speed. And I've always, I mean, I like Santine, but he has a little bit of a, similar to what Michelle was saying, look of maybe a Churchill horse for course. I feel like the Players Podcast historical angles horse in this race is set piece between the potential for setup and the old turf form Shipping West we talk about all the time, but much respect for Hong Kong Harry as well. Really interesting running of the Seabiscuit. A lot of different ways you can go, and curious to see how that one plays out on Saturday at Del Mar. 7 o'clock Eastern will be the fourth leg here. It's an allowance race. We're going 6 furlongs on the dirt. And Michelle, I'm going to bring you back in for your thought on what numbers will be on your tickets.
So looking at this allowance race, this is a 40 non-winners of 2 other than, so it's a little bit different condition than we generally see. I was kind of on the fence. I like Liberty Forever.
Why is it different?
Well, because it's a 40 non-winners of 1 or a 62 non-winners of 2.
Oh, it's a dual.
Yeah, so like we see the 40 non-winners of 1, right? We don't ever have a 40 non-winners of 2, or we have the 62 non-winners of 2. So now we have a 40 non-winners of 2.
No, it's not. No, that's not. You're reading it wrong.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. It
Guys,
says,
I'll read this one.
For the 3-year-olds and upward, which has never won once other than maiden, claiming, or starter, or state rider, which never won 2 races, or never won 2 races, or claiming price 40.
So
it's not a 2
our
other
stuff
than.
is normally an optional 40 non-winners of 1 other
That's
than.
what it is.
Well, then why does it say non-winners of 2?
I don't know.
Well, it says non-winners of 2 right here on my sheet.
Maybe those are
somewhere. It sounds
no,
like.
I don't know. Maybe you're right.
You'll be able to tell by the composition of the field, right? I mean, if there's a horse that would have been eligible for the other conditions.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I mean, you have Phineas in here. He's a stakes winner, right? So because he's Calbred, so he's instantly a horse you look at. He won a stake here on Breeders' Cup weekend in 2021, and he looked good doing it. From a race standpoint, he gets himself all worked up and messy, so he's very hard to kind of get a read on beforehand. Recently, he's been tailing off. Lovinger moved him from Walter Solis to Peter Miller, and they tried him on the turf and down the hill last time. I think that was a very failed experience. I like the fact that yeah, I know. I can see, right? I like the fact they're moving him back to dirt. And I think that this is a condition that he obviously is going to suit very well. And the fact that he's a stakes winner on this track and he draws Pratt, I think he's absolutely worth a look at 10-1. Miller's other horse in here, Liberty Forever, is interesting because he's cleared both of his Calbred conditions, one on turf, one on dirt, one sprinting, one routing also, by the way. And I think that he's coming in here in very, very good form. My look at him is he's never faced open company before, and there are.
Are you just going through the whole field, or are you making picks?
Okay, so I like the 1 Phineas, the 2 Liberty Forever, and the 4 City Rage.
So we skipped 1. It wasn't quite a easy as 1, 2, 3 situation, but maybe for Michelle as easy as 1, 2, 4. Billy, how do you see it?
Yeah, this is where I'm gonna single. Actually, and this is a typical race that I lose. So everybody out there listening, this is like where I completely fall off. And yeah, I'm going to go Baffert, Hopkins, 9-5. Even though he's not that fast on sheets, I thought he was visually impressive at Santa Anita. And I think I like him actually at 6 furlongs. He's been the heavy favorite 2 times in a row. Never really ran a bad race. Lost to Shaz that first race. I mean, put up 104 buyer that day. And I think he's coming around, and I like it that he's outside in here and he can kind of control the race. There is some other speed. If I had to bet other horses, it's funny. Michelle took 1, 2, 4. If I had to bet 2 other horses in here, I'd actually bet the 3 and the 5. So I'd go 7 on top as my single. If you want to go deeper, I'd go 3, 5. So we are very, very opposite here. And if you're listening again,
Five's a good horse. 5 looked super good last time.
I agree. And he was a really good horse when Baffert had him. I like him, but I like Hopkins. I think he runs one of those races where he becomes a very serious horse in here this time around.
Michelle, what do you think of Hopkins? Obviously, you're not with, but I mean, are you wildly against? Are you buying Billy's argument?
It's like one of my handicapping kind of like prerequisites, right? Or rules. I don't use first time versus winners generally.
Prerequisites?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to say that again?
One of those things.
Shut up, Billy.
Billy is busting shoes today.
I love you, Michelle. Fire. I love you, Michelle, so much. I just know you just rushed here and you're just doing this, and it's just awesome. I just look at her head shaking. Look at the line from her cap. I love her so much.
I think that Hopkins is going to be bet enough. I think the world is going to probably see it Billy's way. So I think you're,
Which means we're going to lose. I'm telling you right now, this is my typical horse that gets beat, and I go, what the? I can't swear on the show like on our show, Michelle.
That's right. That's right. But when you say that, is that because of the level of the race, Billy, or just because what is it about
I have
this
no.
race?
It's one of those things where, like, if you really dive deep, this race is wide open. You can make a case for any of these horses. So what ends up happening, but you have to, like I said, in a late pick 5, I like to single somewhere. I want to get some single, and I just couldn't find one anywhere else. I guess if Michelle was right about Hong Kong Harry and you single Hong Kong Harry, that would work. And then you could maybe spread a little bit here and try to beat Hopkins. But I didn't want to use Hopkins and like 2 other horses unless it was a price. Maybe Good Vibes Only is a good price for Sadler off the layoff. Not a huge layoff. He ran in September. I don't believe in Los Al numbers a lot. I guess Seville Row would be the other one that I would maybe use, but it's just for me. It's one of those personal things, Pete, where you just constantly say, "Yep, this is the kind of race I lose."
We've got one more race to talk about, but first, a word from our sponsors, Del Mar. The Del Mar Fall Meet is upon us. Great weekend of racing, going to continue on until Sunday, December 4th. Great racing includes the Turf Festival starting this weekend, and Grade 2, 2 Grade 1s, the Hollywood Derby on December 3rd, and the Matriarch on December 4th. Also, be sure to check out the Del Mar Fall Handicapping Challenge on November 26th with BCBC and NHC seats available. Do not miss out on Del Mar this fall. For much more information, you can go to their website, dmtc.com. We're covering them also every day. Dean Kepler doing a great job over at inthemoneypodcast.com. And of course, on the Owner's Box, you'll be hearing a word or two about this Del Mar Fall Meet as well. One race left, team.
Come on, Michelle. Owner's Box.
We've got an allowance for us to close things out. I'll let you guys argue about the conditions if you want. A mile and a 16th on the turf.
Michelle's right. There is something funky about that race. Michelle is right. True. No, because if you look at the top of this race, it's optional non-1X, and the other one's optional non-2X. But it's not necessarily a 2 other than. It's something strange. I don't know. There's conditions that are not in the form that are probably in the condition book.
You're allowed to be it's non-winners of 1 other than a maiden claiming or a starter or a spread or haven't won 2 races, period.
Right.
Or in for the claiming price.
Right. Yes.
So it's like a non-winners of 1 other than or 2.
We could just talk about this all day. I'm sure our audience is just like thrilled about this.
People are on tenterhooks every.
All right, but here's the thing. Let's go.
Phineas could not have gotten in this race if it was a non-winners of 1 other than.
Right. He has the or something or.
Right.
Yes.
He has one of the ors. That's a good name for a horse. One of the ors.
Fascinating is this dissection of the conditions.
No, I just want to just keep going so that Pete has to really go through this soccer game.
Right,
he's dying. He's like, please stop talking about conditions. Ninth race. Listen, I purposely
after the soccer game.
I purposely skinnied my ticket. Is that a word? Skinnied?
Yeah.
Why not? You said it. If I said it, you yell at me. But if you say it, it's good.
No. I only yell at you when you say actually the wrong word. Not skinnied. Skinnied is a made up word. So you could go deep here in the finale, because this is, you really, again, you can make a case for a lot of these horses. I went 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9. I used some bombs in here. Fly the Skies 12-1 with JJ Hernandez for Steve Knapp. I got Tio Magico for Phil D'Amato, who is, leading the trainer standings. And this is a sprinter stretcher outer. He ran really well last time, 15-1 on the morning line. And then you got your kind of logicals. Aligato for my good friends, Bob and Lucy. You know them, Michelle, Mark Latt. This horse needed his last, still ran on, probably didn't want to go that short, gets more distance, gets Rispoli. I think Aligato is probably the horse to beat in here, but I did go deep, and I'll throw out those numbers again: 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9 to wrap up the pick 5. I like to do one of two things. I either like to single in the last leg, so I know this is the horse that needs to win, or I like going deep with some prices if you have stronger opinions earlier, so you get those, nice payouts. Oh, this is for 1,200. This is for 16,000. This is, I kind of like that. So theoretically, that's my mental state. Michelle,
giving yourself something to dream
right.
on. How about you, Michelle? Any more clarity on this nightcap?
Yeah.
5 and the 8 were my 2 horse I really liked. I love Olegato in this particular spot with the stretch out and distance, especially he is a stakes winner. He won the Turf Classic at Santa Anita, although he's never won a race at Del Mar, so that's worth looking at. If I was going to use 3 horses, I would add the 2 Percolate, who Billy did not mention at all.
Yes.
Broke his maiden and then came right back versus starters. I thought he ran well behind Durrani. He gets blinkers on today, so at least we're going to get an equipment change. That hasn't worked for him in the past, but that was also on dirt, and I think he's obviously proved himself to be a better turf horse.
Skipping a condition, though. Talk about conditions, because he goes from the starter. He still has the starter.
He still has the starter, yeah.
But I see where you're going. Look, if you're going to use 6, you might as well use 7. So throw in Michelle's horse. Just don't use all. Don't use all but one. Yes, that's the death. Use the other horse.
If you were going to go all but one, who's the horse you would not use?
Just as a thought experiment.
Yeah.
Probably Goldeneye or Dominant Soul.
I like Goldeneye.
You do? Well, first time gelding, first time Lasix. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
You want me to throw Goldeneye in there as a backup for you, Michelle? Do you like Goldeneye that much?
I like Goldeneye Snapper. I like Goldeneye when we go get sushi.
Which we should do next weekend, by the way.
Absolutely. We should try to work something out for sure. Pete. Oh my God. No, I'm kidding. There wasn't a goal. There wasn't a goal.
What did you say, Michelle? I'm sorry. Billy was mocking me.
It was not Goldeneye I liked. It was the other Peter Urton 7 Wonders. Sorry.
Pete,
7 Wonders.
I have one more question before you have to go. Like, how do they choose the uniforms, and how many do they have? Like, the USA is the blue ones, and the England is white with like powder blue. That has nothing to do with England. Aren't they white and red usually?
Well, yeah, they're white with they've got white or red, and then they've got the the little 3 lions crest.
Who do you cheer for, Pete?
Oh, I'm a USA supporter.
He's got a USA soccer hat on.
Oh, is he? I didn't even notice that. I swear I didn't even notice that. But like you're asking him questions about like the UK or the London team or whatever it is, the England team. So I didn't know if like maybe he was a fan of watching England.
Oh, he's a fan.
I just like to watch World Cup in general and come up with some, betting angles and things like that. And
who's the
really
good guy?
Enjoying looking at this expected goals stat and hopefully going to make some plays as the tournament goes on.
Billy, next time you ride, you need to wear pants that have like this.
Those are hot.
Fancy.
I wore my jeans. And it was terrible. I am so sore. I'm not kidding. Let's talk about that on Beach Boss, though. We have Beach Boss this week. Tomorrow, Pete.
Put in that plug. Where can folks find you? What can they expect?
Michelle, where do they find us?
Saturdays at 11 o'clock on Del Mar's YouTube channel.
Oh, wait. What race are we doing?
We're doing the Seabiscuit.
Oh, well, now I know who you like.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm going to put all my money on one horse this week.
Hong Kong Harry, #1 super guy. Michelle, do you remember Hong Kong Fooey?
Yeah, Hong Kong Fooey.
#1 super guy. Hong Kong Fooey.
He is so upset right now, Pete.
All right, Pete, go watch your soccer. Thank you, Pete. Thanks, everybody.
I'll leave the lights on. Just shut them off. End StreamYard link when you guys are done, and everything will be okay.
No,
in all seriousness, though, guys. Appreciate your help. Really looking forward to seeing you. Appreciate our friends at Del Mar. We will be back with more content very soon here on InTheMoneyPodcast.com, through the Owner's Box, through the Players Podcast. I'm Peter Thomas Fornatel. May you win all your photos.